All right, let's get right into it. The explosion of AI has everybody asking this one giant question. Is it going to lead to a future where we all benefit, or one with widespread unemployment and inequality? Here's the thing, though. This future isn't just some random thing that's going to happen to us. It's a choice, and it's a choice that we are making right now, today. And that choice really boils down to two very, very different paths. You've got the cyberpunk future on one side, think Blade Runner, automation, replacing jobs, and falling into this really dangerous loop called the Turing trap. But on the flip side, you have the solar punk future. This is all about augmentation, where AI makes people better at their jobs, creating new opportunities and shared prosperity. This is the world of centaur models. Yep, named after the mythical creature, where you fuse human smarts with machine power to create something way better than either one could be on its own. Now, what's so fascinating is that this entire massive debate, the one that totally dominated the World Economic Forum, can be boiled down to this one super simple formula. Productivity equals output divided by input. See, to grow, you can either focus on making the top number bigger, the output, creating more value, more services, more wealth for everyone, or you can focus on shrinking the bottom number, the input, by cutting jobs and labor costs. Both strategies boost productivity on paper, but they lead to completely different worlds. So first, let's explore that cyberpunk path, the one that's all about shrinking the input, cutting the labor. It's a really tempting idea for companies looking for short-term gains, but it's built on a goal that is fundamentally flawed. A lot of people are starting to call this the automation trap. This idea comes from a Stanford economist named Eric Brynjolfsson, and he calls it the Turing trap. See, for decades, the holy grail in AI research was the Turing test. Can you make a machine so human that you can't tell it's a machine? But when that becomes your economic goal, it's a disaster. It means the main purpose of AI is just a substitute for a person, which creates this direct zero-sum game where for the machine to win, a person has to lose their job. And this quote from Brynjolfsson just nails it. He says, "We have used the Turing test to walk into a Turing trap." What he means is that a scientific benchmark, something that was just supposed to be a guidepost for research, has accidentally pushed businesses and tech towards a really bad destination, simply replacing people instead of making them more powerful. Okay, so you might be thinking, is this just a theory? A scary story about a future that might happen? Or is there any actual proof that this trap is already starting to close in on the workforce? Oh yeah, it is. And this is the number that should honestly stop you in your tracks. -16%. And this isn't some forecast for the future. This is what has already happened to a really specific and really important group of people in our economy. So let's actually look at the data from Stanford's Digital Economy Lab. For young workers, people between 22 and 26, in jobs that are highly exposed to AI, think junior programmers, entry-level marketing folks, their employment has dropped by a relative 16%. But now look at their older coworkers, people over 30, in the exact same fields. Their jobs are stable, maybe even growing a little bit. And people in jobs with low AI exposure are doing just fine. The takeaway here is chilling. AI isn't just getting rid of jobs, it's surgically removing the entry-level ones. And this leads to what people are calling the broken rung crisis. We are literally automating the first step of the career ladder. Those junior jobs are where you learn the ropes, where you get experience, where you build the kind of gut knowledge that turns you into a senior expert down the road. So if we automate the apprenticeship, where are the masters of tomorrow supposed to come from? Okay, but it does not have to be this way, I promise. That dark cyberpunk future is a choice, not our destiny. So let's talk about the alternative, the augmentation path, and see how we can build that better solar punk future instead. So let's just be super clear about the difference here. The goal of automation is to replace the worker, to cut costs. That's all about shrinking that bottom number in our equation. The goal of augmentation is to empower the worker, to expand what they can do. That's about growing the top number. One road leads to jobless growth, the other to shared prosperity. Simple as that. So what does it actually take to get on this augmentation path? Well, Ravi Kumar, who's the CEO of Cognizant, just said it perfectly. The most important skill in the future isn't going to be coding. It's something he calls context engineering. As he puts it, AI is already great at writing code. It knows the syntax. But what it doesn't know is the hustle, the messy, complicated human reality of how a business actually gets things done. And that's exactly what context engineering is. It's the job of teaching AI that hustle. This isn't just about writing a clever prompt. It's about deeply embedding the AI with an understanding of a company's specific history, its office politics, its tribal knowledge, all the unwritten rules.
It's the work that turns a powerful but kind of clueless tool into a genuinely trusted partner.
And this is a real job with real steps. A context engineer starts by mapping out all that unique company knowledge. Then they set up the guardrails, the hard and fast rules the AI has to follow. After that, they weave the AI into how teams already work, not as a replacement, but as a collaborator. And the end result is amazing. They basically democratize expertise. The wisdom of the most senior person in the company becomes available to the brand new hire, all through that AI partner. Now, I know this idea of a solarpunk future, this shared prosperity, can feel a little abstract. But what if I told you that a tiny island with only 15,000 people has already figured out how to build it? And they did it thanks to a complete and total accident of digital history.
I want you to meet Anguilla. Way back in 1995, this small Caribbean island was randomly assigned the country code domain .ai. For decades, it was basically worthless. But then, with the boom in artificial intelligence, what was once just a geographic abbreviation suddenly became the single hottest piece of real estate on the internet, creating an economic windfall that is just unbelievable.
I mean, just look at this. Today, the fees from people registering .ai domain names make up a staggering 47% of Anguilla's entire government budget. We're not talking about a small slice of the pie. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars a year, flowing directly into the public treasury from a 2-letter digital address.
And what they're doing with that money is the literal definition of a solarpunk future. They've gotten rid of residential property taxes completely. They're providing free healthcare for all seniors and kids. They're funding a massive expansion of their airport, building new tech education centers and new sports facilities for youth. This isn't some trickle-down fantasy. It's a direct flood of tech revenue being used for the public good.
So, Anguilla's story is incredible, but it's not just a lucky lottery ticket. It actually reveals a deep, fundamental principle about how value gets created and captured in the digital world. It's a principle we can actually learn from, and it's this: infrastructure is destiny. Think about it like this. In the first wave of the internet, the infrastructure itself, the protocols, were thin. They didn't really capture any value. All the money was made by the fat applications built on top, like Google and Facebook. But now, we're seeing the power of fat protocols. Owning the foundational layer, like a domain name system, is way more durable and profitable because everything else has to be built on top of you.
And that's the key idea here. Take VeriSign, the private company that runs the .com domain. They enjoy these massive 66% profit margins from that piece of digital infrastructure, and that money goes to their shareholders. Anguilla uses the exact same mechanic for .ai, but by design, that value goes to its citizens. It's the same principle, just with a different, intentional choice about who gets to benefit.
And this isn't just a history lesson. Get this. For the first time in over a decade, the organization that controls this stuff, ICANN, is opening up a window in April 2026 to apply for new top-level domains. This is a huge, tangible opportunity to actually design new corners of our digital world from the ground up to serve everyone, just like Anguilla did.
Which brings us right back to where we started. We are laying down the foundational tracks for the AI economy right now, and the choices we make about that infrastructure are going to decide if we end up in a world of jobless growth or one of shared prosperity. So the final question isn't for them, it's for us. Who are we going to design it all to serve?